Hey everyone, this is Uri for Guerrilla Poker. In this video, I'm gonna do a live play where I try to focus on what I think are the most important aspects for winning in small and mid-stakes poker games. In my opinion, there's been a great disservice to poker strategy, partly because a lot of the originators of modern, like the pillars upon which modern poker is built, are people who are super smart and super talented and who've played in extremely competitive environments. They know how to play extremely well. They play extremely tough competition, and taking that and transforming it to a strategy that's suitable for small to mid-stakes players who are not necessarily going to study their asses off, who are not necessarily going to be able to notice things, a million things at once and think super fast on their feet and stuff like that. There are steps until you get there, and it's important to kind of build up the foundation in a way that's not too complicated. A lot of people in poker training start out a bit too advanced, so what I want to do in these live play videos is kind of distill the basics for you guys as much as I can, and the basics, to be clear, are not simple. Like right now, the basics are very easy for me, but they're not easy until you know them. So I'm gonna put out some basic rules and we'll revise these as we go along, but kind of the basic rules for beating these games is gonna be that bluffing is good, whether it's with direct aggression or indirect aggression, but like bet, check, bet. All the bluffing lines tend to overperform at low to mid stakes. Second is that folding is generally good. If someone starts barreling or betting huge, just fold. These are like the basic pillars of your game. You should have these pasted on your screen big on both sides, like left side, bluff, right side, fold. If you guys do just these two things, you're already well on your way to becoming a winning mid-stakes player. And in the middle, like the most important thing in poker is paying attention. You don't want to autopilot. You need to focus on the people that you're playing against and learn how to adjust to them. And this is something that builds upon itself higher and higher. How many things you can notice, how many things you can adjust to. But we're going to start with bluffing and folding and kind of small adjustments and take it from there. So I am going to try to play the highest limit of zoom on this side. We'll play 3 tables and try to see what we can make of it. So 10-9 suited, big blind versus MP is going to most of the time call. And here with middle pair, very important, if we're in the line of mostly overfolding to direct aggression, the line you want to take is call flop and fold turn on improved. And not really think about it too much. Now, of course, if villain starts betting really small, have a pair and a gut shot, maybe we have to call, but had villain just bet big here, I would fold. And I think it's not even a big disaster to just fold anyway. I think we'll actually just do that. Here, king queen, we call versus a 3-bet, and kind of keep in mind all the things we said. It's not like we're overfolding to the c-bet, but if villain starts barreling, we're just gonna get out of the way. King queen with a heart here is a strong enough hand to call or raise versus a bet. And once it goes check, this is actually a decent spot to start bluffing. Now, of course, you need to know what range are you repping and stuff like that, but even though the hand in theory should maybe show down, I think we are gonna look to just over bluff. Here ace 10, I 3-bet, I think. Maybe I'm forgetting the action a bit. Probably 3-bet and gonna start out c-betting and probably just barrel. Again, expecting a direct, just aggression to be good. And you guys are gonna see this very straightforward. The way poker works at, when you're playing non-elite players is that you want to play fundamentally good poker. You have to have good pre-flop ranges. Like these things are the very basics of poker, and understand bet sizings and lots of the things that kind of make up the foundations of a good strategy. But after that, just be aggressive when people let you and fold when they're aggressive. It's funny that it's so simple, but it's not simple, because you have to kind of put ego to the side a bit and be like, in one way vulnerable because you're bluffing so much. And you're exposing yourself, right? By bluffing way too much and bluffing in spots where, you're not theoretically supposed to, like the king-queen bluff. You are exposing yourself, kind of putting your neck out there, like if someone knew what you were doing, they could kind of wreck you. But, yeah, people don't. Everyone is way too focused on their own strategy. So you guys are gonna see, hopefully, if there is... if there are requests, I'm happy to do more of these, or... let's actually talk about ace-jack. So here we have someone who's not full stacked. This is generally the sign of a recreational player. So given that, I 3-bet wider and more linear. I think 3-betting this hand is fine. You could also call it. It's a bit in between. Like I said, we're gonna look for direct aggression, so it's actually not too complicated once you think of it like that. Like, I'm just gonna bet this hand. If he shoves, I'm gonna fold. If he calls, I'm gonna keep betting. 5s here is a fold due to the rake structure, unfortunately. And ace king. Again, I'm throwing in some theory stuff here and there, but this is a spot where you're supposed to check everything. So yeah, and then once he checks back, this is effectively the nuts, so we just start like shoveling money. And again, this is like in practice versus in theory. In theory, the villain should check back maybe some fairly strong hands, but in practice that probably doesn't happen enough, I would guess, at these stakes. And I want you guys to always have these kind of stickers, right? So we have bluff, fold, attention. If you guys have those all the time, all the decisions become a lot easier in poker. It's not, oh, where am I in my range? What are my blockers? Of course, you need to know these things. They are important. But in practice, when you sit down and play, bluff, fold, attention, you're good. Some people will pick up on the fact, some people bluffing is bad against, but if you're paying attention, attention defends you, because you'll notice that bluffing isn't working as well as it should against someone, because he makes some really loose call. Then you adjust. That's, I think, kind of the straightforward way to play poker. I'm not 100% about pre-flop ranges in these games, so I'm gonna kind of... You're gonna see inaccuracies around the edges. That's generally okay. Most of the win rate comes from the non-edge hands. When hands are close, they generally are not worth too much. Yeah, here again, just a board where I have to check everything. Would check aces or sets or anything I have pretty much. And Queen Jack, we have a recreational player, presumably. Against recreational players, things get a lot more read-based. King 9 of clubs, close between all the options. When it's close, we're gonna fold. Very straightforward. And here, after facing a check, just going to bet, hoping he will call with ace high or something like that, and probably check shove the river. Maybe he has a queen, maybe bluffs ace high. Straight. Should have bet, I guess. Yeah, here we'll just call, fold the turn. Very easy. Very calm. Open-ender, sure. Call flop, fold turn. Again, it's a lot about bet sizing. Villain should mostly be betting bigger here. When he bets this size, you can do things other than folding. Jack 10 actually becomes kind of callable. And then you could do stuff like call Jack 10 and min donk the river. Like that, there's some cool stuff now. In terms of the strategy I would recommend for you guys, I would say probably don't do that. But, 1 sec. We'll check this here. I think we do want to just over bet donk as though we have a queen. This is actually too big. Yeah, we get snap called by ace king, which is a bit unexpected. Jack 10 is gonna bet. And see. So here we get called by ace-5, which is very expected and very, very important in a previous hand where we get called by ace-king. To just take the note of, you know, 33, 66, snap call, overbet donk, queen a3, queen. Just so we know, we can even color code the guy red, so we remember this is someone maybe to be a bit more careful against. And versus this player, we're gonna adjust our game plan to less bluffing, pretty much. This is mixed call and 3-bet, and queen jack, these positions versus this size. It's funny, it's actually fairly close between calling and folding. I think calling is still okay. It's a fairly big sized 3-bet. Yeah, here 10-9 could do a bunch of stuff. Everything's kind of okay. Well, let's check back. And this is not exactly a direct aggression line because he called and I checked back, so it's not the classic overfolding spot. These are the kind of spots in which bluff catching is more okay. Here once he checks twice, if I had air, I'd definitely start bluffing, but no, I don't, so just check. And if villain checks the river, I'm gonna have to figure out if my hand is good enough to throw a bet in. It's tough because it's hard for him to have worse one pair hands that call. I guess they would have to be, I don't know, I still feel like I just have the best hand. I don't know, but this river bet I'm actually very unsure about. If I were looking to, I don't know if solvers would bet this. I'm not sure if it's good in practice because he does have to actually call me with worse. So sure that there is ace jack, but there's not a whole lot more other than that would call. So I'm not sure we quite get there. Here with ace queen. Remember the plan? When in doubt, we're just bluffing. So start out with a flop bluff and we'll take it from there, but decent chance we keep bluffing quite a lot. On the king, ace queen's showdown value is high enough to showdown, but it's also still okay to keep bluffing. So let's actually, well, it's not exactly a bluff. I think it's okay to keep betting. This is actually a very, I would say, kind of technically on a limb play. The hand is too strong to be considered a bluff. That's a spot where if I bet ace queen, villain might call his ace queens and ace jacks. So I'm actually beating some of the calls. But yeah, so it's kind of rule of thumb and staying in tune with the theme of the video. Just trying to show you guys how to kind of simplify just while you're learning how to play properly, even, I'd say. Ace-5 of clubs, I think, is good enough to continue versus a check raise here. Backdoor hands tend to be really good, and again, if villain barrels, start being more careful. But yeah, turn equity. One of the reasons backdoor draws are really good against check raises is that the ranges are very, very polarized. So bluffs and really strong hands, and you know, against the bluffs we do okay with whatever, because they're going to give up a lot, while against the really strong hands, yeah, at least this has outs. So now we get to stab really tiny, and you guys can see snap fold because the guy's just bluffing something and missed, and no need to bluff big or value bet big in a spot like that. We're not going to take this too far. We actually have a splash pot. I think it's going to be a nice pot to end the video with. I'm going to actually limp. Just limp most hands I play here, I think. And I will sit out these tables and just focus on the splash pot. Splash pots are really, really cool. If anyone's interested, we can do a splash pot strategy vid sometime. This guy Moneytown donk bets. He should not be donk betting in this situation, or donk betting this sizing. Say a very kind of off the grid play. I have some notes about the guy. And well, I guess we can just say donk bets big bomb pot. Three-way. And just fold. It's just the way the hand plays. Unfortunate, but what can we do? Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out our website. We have cool GTO charts, like I said, very, very important, including ranges for casino environments, basic building blocks of strategy. We also have a course about how to improve your red line, which talks a lot about stuff like bet sizing, how to play bet check bet, how to bluff catch, just kind of fundamental poker things. They're not too complicated. I try to make everything short and simple so that you can implement it without having to memorize a bunch of formulas. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.